Standing here by the end of the jetty reminds me of a call we had one time back in the mid-70s. It was a 90-some foot fishing vessel, the Red Baron, and we got a call that it was coming up from the south. So we got the 52-foot motor lifeboat, the Victory, underway, and we came out to stand by at the end of the jetties because the bar was breaking across there occasionally with huge swells with the big series coming in. Well, old Buster McNabb was the skipper of the boat, and he had really no fear at that time of what the ocean could do because he had a almost 100-foot vessel, and he had crossed the bar thousands of times. So he made a run at it and didn't do any timing of the surf or timing of the swells or anything. And halfway in, a big series came along and caught that boat, and it ran it from, that was about half a mile out, caught the boat, and about a 25-foot swell picked up and started breaking, caught the boat, and started it running. And it went up, and the swell picked the boat up 90-some foot, almost a 100-foot vessel, picked that vessel on up, put it on its side, and did a 90 to 100-degree roll. And I thought it was just lost in a big towering of spray and breakers and foam. And when it came up, it was right side up, but was north of the North Jetty, and another big series was coming in, and so we headed for it, and there was no call on the radio. Well, what had happened was it took his windows out on one side when he went over and washed out his electronics, and he could not make a call. And when we got up close to him, I kind of waved to him to go to sea, and the wave had turned him around, and he took another breaker broadside, and that did some more damage to him. And we started on out to sea, and as we did, the 52-footer, the generator overheated, and when it overheated, it went off the line, and all of a sudden I lost all steering. The rudder was just locked in place, and I'm just telling him by motion. I'm on the bridge, and they had to man out up on the flying bridge on his boat, and out to sea they went, and I was doing all the steering with the twin screws, and finally the engineer went down, got the other generator on the line, and we got the steering back. And I was wondering why I lost my steering, but I was more concerned about him because if he took another series of breakers broadside, he probably would have lost the boat. And there was 5 people on board. In fact, he had his wife on board that trip. And anyway, we got out to sea to where we could go up alongside and talk to him, and he said, yeah, he took the windows out on the starboard. As he came in, it was the starboard side, and he took the windows out on the starboard side and washed out his electronics, so he had no way of navigating or radio. And I said, well, you're going to be out here then until it gets dark. We don't want to cross until dark, so we'll have to wait until morning. So we had no communication, so we would just come up alongside him once in a while and say, everything all right, and that. And I said, if anything goes wrong, fire some flares, and we can come up and start taking you in tow if your engines go bad. And so we babysat with him all night long. And in the morning, when it was still pretty good, and we started in, and he took the only breaker on the bar, he took over the stern and washed his decks down just to kind of remind him. And from that time on, old Buster had a great respect for what the sea could do. And we found out that on the 52-footer, the reason I lost my steering was once the generator stopped, it quit the automatic steering, and a great big hydraulic arm that pushed the steering back and forth. The bearings in there were froze up, and as long as the generator was going, it had enough push to go. But without the generator going, there's no way a man could steer it. It took 10 tons of pressure to relieve it, and so we had to have that all fixed on up and got back. So it was quite a night ride. But old Buster McAdams, later on, he took me up to Dutch Harbor, Alaska, to do some of his boats. I did compasses, and I did 3 of his boats up there, and then I made a 10-day king crab trip with him, which was really an experience.